day, everybody. It is Calxiyn and Hunter here, and if you guys enjoyed this video, you should subscribe for more RWBY videos. Check out the Patreon to see our reaction early, and join the Discord server if you guys want to talk and theorize with us more. Today, we are theorizing about the happenings in RWBY Volume 8, Episode 9 with Ozpins Cain, and this is more of a Hunter video than a me video, just because I'm like, Hunter, it's just a nuke. I think they were just nuking her. They just wanted to kill her,
Your
so
lies.
she would be gone for a couple hours. I don't think it's like a whole thing, but Hunter has this idea, and I want to give Hunter a chance to like be correct again, because like Hunter's kind of on a roll. Like Hunter gets a lot of the stuff with the Hound thing. Like I posted on Twitter like a 1-by-1 comparison of the scene with the Hound, and then exactly what you said, and it was actually like pretty spot on. Especially like the floppy head, like the head going back onto the Hound. Like that's basically exactly what happened. You can see the head flop back over, and I'm like, oh my god. And people were like, Hunter has the sight, but yeah. So now I'm just like, all right, Hunter,
I have the
go
sight.
ahead,
I have the
away.
sight. If you totally ignore the fact that I kept on saying summer, and not random.
Summer aside, right? Like that was sort of like our thing, or like my thing is like, oh, summer's in there. Like you know what I mean?
But
I've still got the layout of the scene.
I've been close in the past.
Yeah.
But I've done it here.
All right. So
I've
explain it to them.
So for a very long time, for those of us who have been RWBY fans since around Volume 3, there's been a lot of curiosity over what is in Ozpins Cain. A lot of people thought that after he died, his soul was in Ozpins Cain, and that's why Crow had it. Volume 3 theories were kind of weird like that. A lot of people thought that it was a relic. That turned out not to be true, although then again, maybe Ozpin's just lying to us? Like, he lied a lot in those early volumes,
true.
So...
But I would like to say that I think that was less of Ozpin as the character and more of the writers trying to tell us that. Like, that's how the line always felt to me. It was like, no audience, the Cain is not a relic. Like, I feel like that we were being, like, called out. It's like that scene in the Hell of a Boss episode where they're just like, think about all the filthy people in the human world that would drool over you, and then they're just all like, right? It's kind of like that. Like, I felt like that it had the same, like, fourth wall vibe. But you're right. Like, functionally, like, in the narrative, if we exclude, like, the writing of it, I guess, like, if we exclude the outside stuff, like, in the canon of the show, you're right, like, Ozpin lies, right?
Which is the relic that kind of looks like a sword?
That's destruction.
That's destruction, and so maybe it was the handle of the sword of destruction that was grafted onto his cane. Kind of
like Neo's little, like, umbrella sword, almost. Like.
A sword inside of an umbrella, as all ladies should have.
So, yeah, basically the sword's, like, in the cane.
That's an idea.
Okay, sure.
It's a wrong idea.
So it's a
because it's not my idea.
It's not even, that's not even the idea that you're talking about.
My idea, which remember is the correct idea, really isn't an idea. It's just a fact. This isn't a theory.
Right.
This is facts.
Okay.
Right? So the fact is that Ozpin is a very ancient man.
Yes.
From a time of wizards. And if we look back in some of those early scenes in The Lost Fable, you see some of the people there. They look to have like wizard staffs when they go in to fight the gods.
True.
What ended up being a poor decision for them.
And Ozma has one too. Like, we see Salem. I don't remember. I think Salem uses her hands while Ozma's being like, wee! And like, we thought that the staff was converted into that cane. That the staff that Ozma had in like the old life and everything was basically like melted down into the cane somehow to be like inconspicuous and covert.
I mean, sure. That's an idea. And Calxiyn, you are mostly right.
Okay. Thank you.
Mostly right.
Yes.
Mostly right.
Okay.
But you do not have the facts. The fact is, as you correctly assumed, that this is a magic item.
Right.
From back in the before times, the sort of prehistory of RWBY. Most of Ozpin's magic is no longer in himself. It is now kind of divided amongst the maidens.
True.
So he doesn't have much magic himself. The magic he does have is the magic that is imbued in that cane.
Yeah.
That is where we get that glowing sphere that comes around him at the end of Volume 7, I believe, when he gets shot out of Atlas. At the end of Volume 3, when he's fighting Cinder. We see those green orbs, and I was thinking, like, okay, your theory that it was just a nuke.
Yeah.
That he just uses all of his magic and he obliterates Salem from the hole, and just a scrape of dust on the ground, and she needs to take like an hour or two to sort of reform, and in that hour they, get the hell out of the whale.
Yeah.
I can understand how those without the sight would assume that you're correct.
There's also another thing, though, and it's that Ozpin said something that without Arcane, our options are limited. So, and then Oscar's like, I don't want to use magic. So we can assume that that sentence actually reads, without the cane, our options are limited, so we have no choice but to use magic. That's how I interpreted that scene. So when we talk about now what is happening with the cane, I would actually assume that because they've got the cane back, they are doing some third thing. So this isn't necessarily Ozpins Magic that is coming from Ozpin, but it's like, great, we have the cane, so now we can do a thing. So I think that you actually may be onto something, Hunter, that there's the magic, the little magic that is inside of Ozpin left, and then there's also the magic that is inside of the cane specifically, or like whatever the cane can do that doesn't suck up Ozpin's resources or make him merge with Oscar faster.
Oh, my child, you've finally seen the light. But there leaves one answer. What is this thing, if not a magical nuke? That Ozpin is doing right now. Now, as we were doing the analysis, I realized something, like, what are some, like, magical things in RWBY that have not been explained? And I remembered that at the end of Volume 5, when Yang opens the vault, they go into this sort of magical place that's not any of the continents on Remnant. It's almost like its own pocket dimension, and I thought that's really weird, because the gods couldn't have created that, because the gods just created the relics, and then it was Ozpin's job to hide them. So Ozpin must have created that slip space. So I'm thinking that maybe that's what he did there. That he locked either himself or Salem in that kind of bizarre slip desert space. And part of why I think this is also correct, beyond the fact that it's just kind of an innocuous thing that's presumably done with magic that we have not yet had an explanation for, is at the end of the most recent episode of RWBY, there's this big like flash of light and it covers the whole screen, and for a while it kind of reminds me of that weird universe, that desert place with its very bright sun. So I thought, oh, what if he teleported himself, Salem, and maybe even Hazel into that slip dimension?
Okay.
Now, my powers are not absolute.
Right.
I have not yet seen far enough into the future to discover why he would want to do that. I don't know if it's like some weird Doctor Strange dimension where he has more power and he's able to fight Salem more easily. I don't think that he's able to permanently lock Salem in that dimension,
or he would have done that already.
He would have done it 1,600 years ago, and everyone would have been way better off.
So I think that he may be just doing it to buy time.
Yes.
Right? So like you're saying, the thing is that Salem has magic, so she could easily break herself out. But if she has to reconstruct herself and then break herself out, that just buys them a little bit more time. You know what I mean? And okay, so here's the other thing about like the dimension. I thought that this was really funny, but do you remember like when we watched that, we were like, well, what if they're not a pocket dimension, but what if it is actually just in the middle of a desert somewhere? Like, can you imagine how unsafe that would be? You know what I mean? Like,
it really would be.
You know what I mean? In the middle of vacuum, the relic's just out in the open, and it's just like a scoop to get the relic.
That's also.
What if the relics are stuck in the place where the god originally put them, and the only way that Ozpin could like get them easily without establishing a school literally in the same place was to go like reach and then take the relic out, like maybe no one else can see.
He has to jump on a camel and like go into the middle of like Ruby Sahara.
And so that's why. So maybe it's not even a pocket dimension, but it's a portal. But like that would be so dangerous though, unless nobody else can see the relics. That'd be a terrible idea. So that's why I actually think your pocket dimension thing is probably more likely. Because if you just left it in the middle of the vacuo desert, what if you open the vault and then it's not in there? Like, it's a vault for a reason. So I feel like that idea that, it's just like in another location and it's sort of like a portal to just grab it and go. Like, I feel like that's just not a thing, right? So it has to be a pocket dimension. But then the question is, like, I guess the pocket dimension would function like Jin, where maybe the time on the inside
is different than the one on the outside?
Yeah, and then, like, I don't want RWBY to fuck with any time travel, okay? Do you remember we actually made a theory, and it was about Ozpin being a time traveler, and we had, like, the Doctor Who thing photoshopped in it, and, like, the thing from Harry
There was a really popular
right?
theory that Summer was sent back in time to kill like an ancient version of Salem.
Yeah,
but
so
she was destroyed, and
I
that's
feel
why
like that
Crow
at
or
least
Raven doesn't like.
It wouldn't fuck with the timeline or anything, but it would be like a very Jin-esque space where the time in there is slower, and then it lets Team RWBY just like catch up, I guess. And you know what would actually be interesting though is what if in this pocket dimension, Hunter, like Ozpin is able to be himself, and maybe the purpose of this is to like have a conversation with Salem. Like, wouldn't that be cool? Like, maybe it's sort of like, I can't think of a comparison. Imagine that Oscar is like sitting on the ground in the desert, if that's where you think that they are, wherever, right? Like, maybe they're back at the tree where they met, or like some weird, you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe it
Not
doesn't
where they
have
met,
to be
like
the
back
desert.
at the tree, like where the whole bad things happened, like with the God of Light. Like, maybe they're back at the tree and Oscar's sitting on the ground, and then it's like that scene in Kingdom Hearts when Roxas just pops out of Sora, like, hello,
God.
right? And so like Ozpin's just, or even original like Ozma and how he looked originally is just there like talking to Salem while she's reconstructing.
Yeah.
Like, her voice is just disembodied because she's trying to build herself, and it's like, can we just sit here and talk about this, right? Because this is the first time they've been face to face in forever, so I feel like that could be a thing. You know, like maybe that's also the purpose, not just to buy time, but also maybe to talk to her and convince her to stop this. I mean, that's not gonna work, but it could be an interesting conversation.
It'd
But
be
what
a really
else are you
interesting
thinking?
conversation. I'm thinking that maybe there might be a fight there. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have no clue what happens when they're in the slip dimension.
Okay, so
I'm
you just think that there is a slip dimension.
That there is a slip dimension. I like the idea of him locking Salem in there for a period of time, and Salem just being like, I can get out.
Yeah.
Like, if this worked, we would have stopped having problems eons ago. And he's like, I know you'll get out, but at least now my, I don't know, kinder, gentler souls can do their job.
Aw, that's
I imagine
so
it would be a
cute.
good conversation.
Or, like, it's, oh my god, I read this thing, this is kind of off topic, I read this thing on Reddit, and it was about, like, this, like, student senate thing, like, that they were pretending to be, like, mock senate, and apparently when you present stuff to the senate in the States, you can, like, go over time, like, you can just sit there and read from a phone book or something to, like, delay a bill or something like that.
Yes, it's called a filibuster.
Yeah, so what if Ozpin's just like, I know you can get out, but you're gonna sit here and listen to my ass for the next 6 hours. Like, you know what I mean?
Are you
like,
saying?
I know you can get out, but you're gonna, like, this is your punishment, is having to sit here with me while I talk to you for the next, like, 10 hours, 10 hours in their time, but then in the real show time, it's like 30 minutes. You know what I mean?
That would be hilarious if Ozpin has to filibuster his ex-wife in a slip dimension.
Maybe Ozpin just talks about stuff that, like, wouldn't even necessarily, like, give Salem any information, but he's like, let's start at the beginning. So in one life, I was a drunk. It really did feel like that. In another life, I had some kid, like, he just, like, he's just talking and or maybe Oscar is just like, yeah, I lived on a small farm. This is how you collect the corn. This is how to plant a potato. And Salem just, like, make it stop.
One time I forgot to feed the chickens and they got real rowdy, so they pecked a goat to death. My aunt was like right pissed with me. I imagine that Oscar and Hazel are both there and they're just sitting on a bench with their hands on their knees, just really awkward, being like, oh fuck, mom and dad are fighting right now, aren't they?
Oh god, I think that's actually interesting. So yeah, Hunter's pocket dimension theory.
Yes.
Here it is.
I'm thinking, listen.
There we go.
You know what I want? I'm chasing your glory.
Oh,
I just want to have a Jin prediction like a year before the Jin
was
thing
the Hound
actually
not
happens.
like doing enough for you?
The Hound,
was
yeah,
still
but
thriving?
that's the thing though. Everyone had the Hound theory.
Yeah.
You were the only one with that Jin theory, and I'm the only one with the pocket dimension theory. I'm still not going to be able to go to your greatness because this isn't a year out, or at least I hope to God not. The RWBY schedule has already been bizarre enough already. I don't need another. He was like, oh, you liked it 2 episodes? Let's wait another 6 months.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm real honest to God, more than anything I've said, more than Oscar poisoning the casserole, more than, I don't know, Summer being a time traveler, I'm pretty sure about the pocket dimension.
Okay.
Because, man, the more I think about it, the more I think it is really weird that they never explained how he made those slip dimensions.
That is true. And then we also have, like that Ozpin does freaky time stuff when he's fighting Cinder. Like he hits her a bunch of times and it's like she's almost frozen, right?
Yeah.
So what if you could do that like on a big scale? Like that's kind of interesting.
Also, you know, like he's the Wizard of Oz, and the wizard went to this new magical place, which is kind of like the slipstream.
Sure,
I don't know.
guess.
Maybe that's sort of the
understand
stretch.
what you're saying, right? But yeah, all right. So I hope that you guys enjoyed Hunter's Theory Corner.
Hunter's Theory Corner.
Very
The
Cinder
government's
is a
poisoning
pirate
the water.
of us. Oh,
Not
boy.
those kind of theories.
Yes, very Cinder is a pirate of us. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed. And we will see you guys in the next one. Remember to subscribe, join the Discord server, and check out the Patreon to support videos like these. And I will see you guys in the next